Okay, cool. Yeah, if you guys have any questions as we go through, obviously feel free to jump in. Feel free to ask any questions that you have. So I know some of you on here I know already, some maybe not so much. So first things first, of course, let's do a little introduction. So I am Nathan Bell. This was me probably about 10 to 15 years ago. I was a little bit chubby, a little bit overweight as a kid. I love sport, but I also love the chocolate cake at Pizza Express. And as you can see, I got a few little moves there. However, I developed a love and a passion for fitness, for healthy living, for challenging myself. And over the years, I continued that interest, and now I obviously work as a fitness and nutrition coach. My goal as a coach is to help educate, inspire, and challenge other people to really see what they're capable of. So as you can see, for me and for everyone, a couple of things to note. Success does not happen overnight. I'm sure we're all aware of that. Oh, where has he gone? Okay. Importantly, you have to be clear on your objective and why it is important. So on my journey, my personal journey, my objective changed many times. Initially from that photo, and you can see me when I was younger, the goal was to just increase, boost my self-confidence. I wanted to lose some weight so that I wasn't the chubby one anymore. Once I lost the weight, my then goal was to become a little bit more athletic. I wanted to improve my performance on the football field. And then once I realized I wasn't going to make it as a pro athlete, my goal now is to just set smaller targets for me to continually work towards. So in more recent years, that's included triathlons, cycling challenges, etc. And finally, this is not gonna, I'm not gonna tell you, I'm not gonna lie to you, you are gonna have to put in a little bit of hard work. Okay, or a lot of hard work depending on what your goal and your objective is, but start small. So that's just a little introduction to myself. So first things first, oh, let me go, what's in that chat box? Let me open him up. Can I just quickly, can everyone else hear? Just pop in the chat box. I've had someone said that they can't hear, so I just want to make sure. Yes, I think that's your end, Mark. So I think everyone else can hear me okay. So maybe just try on and off your microphone. So first things first, hopefully you all know why you're here. You're here because I want to help you achieve your fitness goals, your health and fitness goals for 2021, and also give you a process, a formula that I use for myself, for clients, that is going to stand you in good for this year and next year and the year after that. So first things first, oh, is he going to go? Throw your resolutions out the window. Okay, maybe not what you thought you were going to hear from me, but did you know that approximately 92% of all New Year's resolutions fail? Ask yourself, over the last 5-year period, how many times have you made New Year's resolutions? How many times have you stuck with those resolutions for at least 6 months, maybe a year? And if you say a year or you've continued to stick with them, then good on you. You are in the minority. So why should we throw resolutions out the window? Number one, I think personally, is a lack of identification and individualization. So what I mean by that, I think people get worried around the Christmas period. They go, oh no, I've eaten, it's always the January hype to give yourself some New Year's resolution. So I think everyone gets worried rather than taking time to self-reflect on themselves and think about what it is that is really important to them. I think we all jump on the bandwagon. Oh, I need to stop eating chocolate, or my New Year's resolution might be to run a little bit, which they all mean well. It's all great that you're setting these, but if you want to be successful in that aspect, I think you need to take some time to self-reflect, think about what's important to you, and then also, rather than just jumping on something that everyone else is doing, think about individualizing it to yourself. Another reason that I think resolutions fail is because quite often they can be unrealistic. I think, we think of these New Year's resolutions, and quite often they might be feasible for maybe a 1 week period or a 2 week period. But what you've got to ask yourself is the resolution, is the target, the habit that I'm working on, is it realistic for me to be continuing with that 6 months down the line, maybe 9 months, a year, and so on? So, for example, if you were someone who has gone from drinking wine every single night or every single day over the last 6 months, or maybe over a Christmas period, you like your wine a lot or you like your beer, to go from that drinking every single day to suddenly completely stopping this habit of yours, so going from cold turkey, as they might say, that's quite extreme. Okay, so what I would ask you to ask yourself, what is realistic? Okay, what is realistic for me 6 months down the line? If you love wine and it's a big part of your life, it's something you enjoy, good news for you, you do not have to throw it out the window. Okay, you can keep your wine in there, but think about cutting it back. So can you maybe start off with, okay, let's go from 7 nights a week to 4 nights a week. Okay, once you can consistently do 4 nights a week, then after a month, maybe we'll cut that down to 3 nights a week. Okay, and then we can build on it and create continual success. But if we go all or nothing, what often happens is when we start to see little failures, so we miss 1 night or 2 nights, we start to lose our motivation. Okay, so if we start small and get those little wins in the door, that's going to be a lot more positive in the long haul. Okay, and finally, why I think resolutions fail is because of a lack of accountability. Okay, in all honesty now, most of us lack the self-discipline to do things for ourselves. And what I think is that in the 21st century, it's just become way too easy to put off chasing our goals. Because you could go for a healthy cooked meal in the evening, homemade, or you could just go to Uber Eats. You could go and lace your shoes up early in the morning to go for a run, or maybe in the evening. But Netflix is just a button away and you don't have to leave the house for that. And then maybe you could go to bed a little bit earlier every night, but then you just happen to get caught up playing on your phone, on Instagram, on different apps. So realistically, it's not easy. Okay, there's a lot of different things taking our energy away, but this is where my process that follows is going to help you and be important. Okay, so how we begin, rather than jotting out, we want to start with the end outcome. What is it that we want to achieve? Where do we want to be? And then we can begin to work backwards. So now this is where I want you guys to have your pen and pads ready, because we're going to go for a few questions. Number one, okay, what is it that you would like to achieve in a year? Okay, so I want you to I'm going to give you 1 minute now. All right, so have a little bit of think about this. So maybe a minute and a half. Where would you like to be at the end of 2021? And what I don't want you to come up with, please, is say, I want to be fitter. Okay, that doesn't mean anything to me because fitness is different to everyone. So let's say, for example, if you are a runner, okay, maybe it's that you want to achieve a marathon or a certain distance or a certain number of miles in 2021. Okay, maybe if you've never trained in your life, or maybe you've got terrible nutritional habits, maybe your goal is that in a year's time, you want to be able to say, I can cook for myself, I'm comfortable, I can cook 5 nights of the week, I only eat out on a weekend. Okay, it's going to be completely different for everyone, but make sure that you are very clear on it and it's something that we can think about and it's measurable. So if any of you want to chuck it in, and then maybe I can use you as an example as well, then feel free to chuck it in the chat box. One, for accountability, because straight away other people know what your goals are about. Two, for you to actually get it off the chest as well. So if you want to add that in, feel free to pop yours in the chat box. I'm just going to have a quick drink. It's quiet. Nobody wants to either nobody's come up with it or nobody wants to share. And what I would say is don't rush this. Okay, this doesn't have to be done right now as well. This might be something, what I do, I take a day maybe to really self-reflect. I take the time to think about what it is that I want to achieve and work back. Okay, once you've done this question, the next thing that I want you to move on to is why. Cool, I like that, Kim. She wants to walk a half marathon. Okay, that is a good goal. I know Kim is my auntie, and I know that she's crushed 2020. She's made big changes to her lifestyle. So Kim, I think that's very possible for you, but if you keep putting in that hard work. Okay, next thing I want you to think about, why is that goal or that target, why is that important to you? Okay, this is really critical for success. This question, really understanding your personal motive, is essential for you to achieve your goal. Because if it's, if it's just superficial, something that can disappear quite quickly, it's not that important to you, then it may be great, it may sound good on the cuff, but when times get difficult, when motivation gets hard, okay, if that goal is not important enough to you, there's not a deep enough, an important enough why, then you're simply going to back off, you're going to lose motivation, and we go down the drain. Okay, next question. If anyone wants to share their why, then feel free. I'm going to go through an example for you as well afterwards. If I can get my mouse back working, he seems to have disappeared. Give me 1 second. Where's my... Sorry, team. 1 second. For some reason, the mouse has gone for walkies. Not good. Okay, give me 2 secs. I'm having some technical difficulties from my upstairs room. My mouse has decided he wants to play games. Can everyone still hear me? Just pop in the chat box. It feels like that. Okay. Oh, you can still hear. Okay, I might be able to go touchscreen. Yes, cool. I can go touchscreen. Sorry about that. Okay, so if you've got that goal for a year's time, where would you need to be in 6 months? Okay, and this is really important again, because what I find quite often is people set this goal for maybe a year's time or a big 5-year goal, whatever it might be. But that's a long way in the distance, okay? We can lose a lot of motivation if we don't have any we want to have those key milestones, all right? And I'll give you a little breakdown on this in a second as well. Then next stage in the process, very critical, in order to get that outcome, that goal you want to achieve, that person you want to be, what are the habits that you can start to implement on a day-to-day basis that are going to help you achieve it? Okay, and this is critical, because this is where we break it down. We look at the process. We think about, okay, what are the behaviors that individual, if you want to be a new individual, so for example, you want to become a runner, that's the identity that you want to have. You want to be able to run or walk a half marathon. Okay, what are the behaviors that person would have? And a good thing to do, I would say here, a great thing to do is to reach out to somebody who has achieved what you want to achieve. Okay, ask them, how do you live on a day-to-day basis? What are the key habits that you would suggest that I need to implement on my life? If you're a young athlete and you wanted to become a professional netball player or a professional hockey player, okay, find someone who's been where you've gone and reach out to them and ask them about what's their training like, how do they eat, how much sleep do they get, okay? And that all links then finally to the identity you want to create, okay? So if you look at yourself in a year's time, what would you like to say about yourself? How do you identify? So for example, for myself, I might identify myself as a coach. That's one of my identities. I might identify myself as a fit and healthy young man. That's important to me. That's how, that's part of who I am as an individual. And that all links back to your goal. So hopefully you have written down some answers to these. Really quickly, I'm going to run you through a little example. So I'm going to give you my goal, one of my possible goals for this year, and that is to run a marathon under 4 hours. Okay, so that's the headliner. Why is that important to me? It is something new. Okay, I've never really been a big runner. I've run for sport and other things. So for me, it's a challenge. It's something different. That's really important to me because that's part of my personality. I find that I'm quite challenge driven. I like to do things that I haven't done before. And then also, as part of that goal and achieving that marathon, it's going to force me to improve my cardiovascular fitness, and it's going to also boost my confidence because I've set myself a target and I've achieved it. Where would I need to be in 6 months? I probably want to be able to run a half marathon in about 1 hour and 45 to 2 hours. Okay, I'd say that's a good base mark for me to then continue working up towards the next goal. And then finally, what are the habits to implement? Well, I'd probably say a couple of them might be running 2 to 3 times a week, completing 5 or 10K monthly, a 5 or a 10K monthly to monitor my progress and see how I'm getting on. I'd want to make sure that I'm eating quality foods to stay lean and help to aid my recovery. Okay, obviously, if I'm doing running, think 1 kilogram is a lot of extra weight to carry. If I'm carrying 5 kg extra, when I shift that weight, that running is going to help be a lot more efficient for me. And then I'd also want to follow a strength and conditioning program a couple times a week because I know that that will help me prevent getting injured. Okay, so hope you found that useful going through that. Obviously, go away, spend some more time on this, but this will work for anything you want to achieve or any other aspect of your life. Okay, so let's move on next to the next slide. Any questions on that one as we go? I've got my chat box up, so feel free to chuck any questions in the chat box. So once we've decided on our objective, we've got our goal, maybe I would suggest no more than 2 or 3 for fitness or health and fitness, okay? Don't put tons out because it gets confusing, it becomes a minefield. So stick it, keep it simple. The next thing I would suggest that you do is complete a lifestyle assessment. Anyone that knows me, that's worked with me, will know that I am a big believer in an integrated philosophy towards health and fitness, which means that I think about different components. Okay, the first component that I'm going to mention, is this going to work? I don't want to go next slide. Sorry, team, let me check. That's a problem when I did animations. Why is my... there we go. Cool, it's come up. I don't know what's going on. Okay, so the first one, is mindset. So a couple of things to ask yourself under the mindset one. First and foremost is, how do you feel when you wake up in the morning? Are you currently happy on a day-to-day basis? Okay, we are going to go ups and downs. We're not expecting everyone to be super Mr. Happy all the time. Okay, but on the whole, if you judge your day, how do you feel? Would you say, okay, yeah, on the most part, I feel pretty positive. I'm quite happy with my lifestyle, with the way that I am. Okay, you might ask yourself a very important one. Do you actually believe in yourself? Okay, what is your self-confidence like? Do you believe that you can achieve the goals that you set yourself? Okay, then next, another question you might ask yourself in a lifestyle assessment under the mindset would be, how do you feel that you can cope with setbacks? Okay, do you feel confident that if you're working towards your goal and something goes wrong, then you can overcome it? All right, those are a few different questions for you to have a little think about when you're working on that. Okay, I don't even know how I got the box to come up. Let's see. Oh. All right, sorry, team. This is why technical difficulties are not good. Let me go back to my slideshow from current slide. Okay, right. I'm going to just have to go off of this. So the next one was going to be movement. So a couple of questions to ask yourself on the movement front. How many hours a day do you spend seated? Okay, so maybe people of different ages and backgrounds on this, but how many hours a day do you spend fixed to a seat where the body is not necessarily moving the way we would like it to be? Okay, how much time on the opposite side of the spectrum do you spend moving? How much time do you spend exercising? How much time do you spend walking, running, cycling? All these different movements that the human body is capable of. Do you understand your body? Okay, and what I mean by that is, do you understand your limitations? Do you understand, for example, any restrictions that you might have based on injuries? How much time have you maybe been to see a physio or an osteo in the past that's given you guidance and actually looked at your mechanics to give you feedback to work on? And then also, what type of training are you doing? So, you know, is the training that you're doing linked? Does it suit the goals that you're setting for yourself? Nutrition based. So the next one was nutrition. Are you eating a lot of processed foods? Okay, this is something to assess. How much water are you drinking a day? This might be another important question, and whether you're staying hydrated enough. Are you eating multiple meals? Again, important, I would say, for keeping energy balance. Or are you just eating? Do you skip breakfast, for example, or do you skip dinner? I would say trying to get at least 3 good meals in throughout the day is quite important to provide nutrients spread across and providing energy. And then also, you're getting enough macro and micro, so you're getting enough of the energy, enough energy demands and for the nutrients that you need. And then the final one, very important as well, I was going to talk about is recovery. So what is your home life like? Okay, if you're a parent, are you under a lot of stress? Have you got a lot of things going on, especially in the new environment? If you're a kid, a young athlete, are you now having to do your schooling from home? Maybe you've had other things taken away from you, like your regular sporting activity. How stressed do you feel on a day-to-day basis? Okay, do you get to the evening, do you get to 5 p.m. and you just feel like, wow, I'm conked, I'm absolutely gone, I've got nothing left? Or do you go, okay, I've done my job, but I feel good? And then also, sleep is critical. So how many hours of sleep are you getting a day? Okay, sleep and nutrition, I would say, are by far the number one and number two ingredients for good recovery to allow you to perform at your best. Okay, if you are not getting enough of these, that means that quite often you might be, if you're training hard, lead to burnout, and then lead to not achieving your goals, what you would like to. Okay, so sorry I couldn't get them up on the screen for some reason. As I said, the mouse isn't working. Oh, here we go. It's working. Okay, so there's the 4. So the holistic approach for long-term sustainable success. Okay, and as you can probably guess, there is 4 magic ingredients. Oh, let me move my participant box out of the way so I can see properly. Oh. Okay, so number 1, mindset. Okay, as I spoke about, what is your day-to-day approach? Do you have a positive approach? I personally believe that mindset comes above all else. Okay, I think if you believe in yourself, if you have self-confidence, if you build the right habits, if you surround yourself with the right people, this is critical for putting you in a good mindset, a mindset of a champion, someone that believes in themselves, and will go out there in the world and achieve success. Okay, if you think about many of the greats out there, they've probably had someone in their life who has built them up, who has provided them with that self-awareness, that self-confidence. So I would say, if you're a parent on this, really important to build up the mindset of your children. Okay, giving them positive experiences and feedback, not telling them that they're great at everything, but trying to always build that mindset of failure is okay. We can overcome failure. I would say try to focus on what can we change next time. That's a question I always ask myself. What can I do better? Okay, if I haven't done maybe as well as I'd like to. So number 2, movement. So having a clear training plan, me as a strength and conditioning coach, I believe that is critical. Okay. If your goal, for example, is to run a marathon under 4 hours, then you need to have a clear structured training program that's going to get you there. Okay. If you're just doing a random run here and there, and there's no clear structure and progression, okay, then you're probably not going to achieve your goal. All right. You need to have, if your just goal is to just get a little bit fitter and you're working out, okay, that's fine. But if you've got quite a clear objective that you want to achieve, then the more advanced you get as well, the more detailed and the more structured your training plan would need to be. Finally, important one on there is that progressive overload. Okay. So making sure if you're just doing the same workout week in, week out, you cannot expect to get better. Okay. Your body is smart. It will adapt to the stimulus placed upon it. Okay. So if I just run 5K every week and I never increase the speed of that, or I never try and increase the distance, then I might get good at running a 5K, but I'm never going to get good at running a 10K. Okay. Or trying to increase the speed that I'm running at. So make sure that's the same in the gym. Okay. If you always doing your squats with a 10 kilo and you always do 10 reps of 10 squats with the 10 kilo, you don't increase the volume or the weight, you're not going to get stronger. Okay. There needs to be a progression there week in, week out. Nutrition, as we spoke about, key points on here, energy balance. Okay. Energy balance, basically, I mean, how much energy do you need to consume? Okay. What is your goal? Are you trying to lose weight? Are you trying to maintain weight? Are you trying to put on weight? Okay. Something I would recommend here is keeping a food diary, a food journal. There's a number of ways you can do this. You might choose to do it on an app, something like MyFitnessPal. For beginners, I would say that's quite advanced to track everything, to track every single thing and the amounts, etc. One good way to do it is just to simply take a picture. So take a picture every single day of the things that you're eating on that day. After a week, review it, and then ask yourself, okay, what changes? If you find that you need to lose weight and you're eating quite similar foods, then take something off. Okay, maybe reduce those portion sizes, keep it simple. Once again, the more advanced your goal, the more you try and progress as an athlete, the more detailed your nutrition needs to be. Starting out, I would suggest keeps things very simple. Stay away from takeaway or processed foods. Make sure you're getting good quality food. And also for recovery, make sure that you're getting enough carbohydrate and protein, which are key for helping the body maintain and recover. And then finally, on the recovery front, I would suggest, everyone's different, but one, try to get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep every night. You will know yourself better than me and then better than anyone else, okay? You know how much sleep you need. You'll know when you perform at your best. I would say 7 is a minimum. If you're training extremely hard and you're working towards this goal, every single day you're training, you're going to need more sleep, okay? One important thing to note on there, if your job is really stressful and your brain is working all day long, your brain actually consumes about 20% of all of the energy in your body. And that's quite a lot if you think just from your brain. So if your brain is active all day long, that's going to consume a lot of energy as well, which needs to be replaced. Active recovery days. What do I mean by an active recovery day? Okay, active recovery day essentially might be a day that is a lot less intense. So if I'm doing lots and lots of runs, it might be running, but at a lot less lower intensity than normal and a lot less distance. It might also be doing yoga. So nice, fairly steady, easy yoga, or spinning on the bike. A recovery day is basically a day where I'm not smashing myself and trying to go maximal. Okay, I'm cutting back, I'm focusing on different movements and trying to optimize my health and my body. Okay, how are we getting on? Has anyone got any questions for me at this point? Okay, give me a yes or no, thumbs up. Let me know you're still with me, you haven't fallen asleep. We're almost there. Okay, got dinner, chicken fajitas for dinner tonight. Very much looking forward to that. Pop in the chat box. Just put yes if you're still with me, if you haven't fallen asleep yet. Okay, cool. Good to know. Good to know. Has anyone got any questions for me? Or are we good? No questions so far. Okay, so the next part I'm going to roll through is some of the common errors I have seen over my 10 years or so of working in the health and fitness industry. Let's kick off. Number one. Oh, good question. How do you pull yourself back if you start? Okay, that's a great question. So, we all fall off track, and that can be expected. It's super hard to stay on track every single day. I would say to you, my answer to that question would be, it will come back to that identity that we spoke about. Okay. Who do you want to identify with? Do you identify? And I would also say, how important is that goal to you? One thing that I try and suggest to my clients and myself, I find even as a coach, now that I don't necessarily play a sport, having a challenge, so having something in my diary that I've signed up to, that other people know about, that I'm working towards, that makes sure that if I fall off track, I know that I've got to get back on track. Okay, because let's say if I've signed up for my marathon, I've paid my money down. Okay, unless I get injured or something, I know that's in the diary. So that's fine. If you fall off track, maybe 1 day, 2 days, I think the key thing there is don't go overboard on yourself. Don't beat yourself up about having a day or two where you fall off track. Just tell yourself, okay, that's fine. Let's get back on the wagon. Let's get back into my training. One other important thing I would say there, this is a common error that leads on from that question. Don't try to make up everything you miss out in 1 day or 1 week. So something that I see quite often is people, some of my clients who are just general population clients and not athletes and such, maybe they miss 2 days or 3 days of training. What they then want to do is try and pack all of that into 1 day. That is a very bad idea, because that's probably, your body's not capable of coping with that, probably going to overload it too much, and that's where you'll get injured. So if you've missed a day or two, just get back into the routine again. Don't try and suddenly smash everything into 1 day, because unless you're able to cope with quite a high load of training, you're going to get injured. Hopefully that answers your question, Rochelle. That is my perspective on the matter anyway. Okay, so number one, common error: train hard, but recovery is poor. Okay, so I remember an athlete that I worked with. I will not name them, even though that you won't know them, but we worked together for about 6 months, and every session he would crush it. He came in, he gave me 110%. But initially it was fantastic. We were seeing great improvements in his strength, in all the aspects we were looking for. And then the last couple of months, his fitness, his performance started to decline. He started to look fatigued. And initially we couldn't work out what it was, because the training was good, everything was going well. And what I worked out was that he told me that his sleep had actually dropped from, he was getting roughly 8 hours, 7, 8 hours, and he was getting quite stressed out at work. It had dropped down to about 6 hours. And that was the explanation. That was why his training was suffering, his performance was suffering. Okay, he was training hard, but he was getting poor recovery. So really make sure, the harder you train, the more recovery you need. Okay, the lower intensity you're training, you're not going to need as much recovery. If you really want to push yourself and take yourself to the next level, then assess your recovery. How much sleep are you getting? Nutrition. You're going to have to be more a little bit more detailed with your approach. Focusing on the amount over the quality of food. Okay, so this one goes out to clients that I've worked with who maybe they want to go, in particular, I'm not going to stereotype, but quite often it will be my female client. They want to lose weight. They want to lose, some body fat. And the way that they go about it is cutting out all carbs, cutting out, restricting their diet. But what they will eat, they'll tell me, is they may have cut all their carbs for the day, but then they've had, I've had a couple of chocolate biscuits. Okay, whilst they might be in a calorie deficit because they've eaten so little throughout the day, they are not going to see the change in body composition that they want. because you're still putting rubbish into the body. So whilst you may lose weight, you're not going to look good. Okay, you're still going to be fat. So that's not a good way to go about it. Okay, focus more on eating good quality food, and just trying to stick, because what you'll find as well is if you're eating lots of vegetables and fruit, particularly veg, you can eat a surprising amount of food in a day and still be under your calorie guideline if it's a weight loss. Okay, so that is another important point to note. Ooh. Okay, number 3, training once per week and expecting results. Okay, this is another one. Again, I've had clients like this in the past. If you are doing one training session a week, no matter how intense that session, it may work out if you're a complete newbie to training, you don't do much training at all. If you're just starting out, you may be able to see some improvements for the first couple months by doing one training session a week. But as you start to get past those newbie gains, as I might call them, you cannot expect to do one session a week and expect to see big improvements. In particular, I would say to see at least once you've built up a foundation of strength or cardiovascular health, I would suggest doing at least 2 sessions a week to maintain. Okay, that's to maintain. If you want to improve, realistically, let's say we're focusing on a strength component here, you probably need to be doing at least 3 sessions a week, good quality sessions, to be seeing improvements. Okay, so it's a balanced job. It's not too much, not too little. Okay, you need to judge that. I would say that's where having a progressive program is important. Okay, lack of daily movement. So this is for those of you who work for 8 hours and you're sat in front of a desk, and then you go and sit in front of a TV for a couple more hours. How can you fit little spurts of daily, if you're a young athlete, I don't expect that. That's probably going to be a little bit different. But if that's you and you work long hours and you're sat down in front of TV and computer screen, Zoom meeting after Zoom meeting, how can you chunk the day and how can you fit little 10-minute slots where you're getting out, you go for a walk? Can you change the position that you're working in? Okay, little simple changes go a long way. No clear objective and a plan. Okay, that's why I took you through the last step. A lot of people, again, they come to me, they say, I want to lose some weight or I want to be fitter. Okay, you need to sit down. You wouldn't go, if you want to start a business, you wouldn't just say, okay, yeah, I'm going to go and do this. You would sit down, you would have a clear objective. Who do you want to serve? What do you want to achieve? The same way that hopefully you go into work, if you're an adult, you think about, okay, what's my objective for today? And then you'll create a game plan. The same thing needs to happen for your health and fitness. Another important one, so focusing too much on your goal, not the habit. Whilst that long-term goal is important and having those targets to work towards, goals are absolutely useless if you do not work on your daily habits. Okay, there is absolutely no point setting a goal, writing it down, and then just completely forgetting about it. You need to really focus on, okay, what can I do day by day to help me achieve that that goal? What are the habits that are going to help me get there? Okay, then last one, common errors I see is a lack of support and accountability. Okay, so for most people that I spoke to, this is where I come in for clients. Obviously, me as a coach, I provide a source of accountability. I try my best to I provide the tools for them to pick out their own path, but then I will try and make sure that I stay on top of them in terms of, are they following what they said that they want to follow? Okay, accountability can come in many forms. It might be a friend, a family member. It might be doing your exercise, being part of a group, a community. So if you want to get into running, you may join a running club with other people who are trying to increase their running. If you're a young athlete, maybe you already play for a sports team. Try and get in a sports team where your teammates are going to push you and everyone wants to improve. Okay, if you're in an environment that is set up for success, if you're surrounded by people who want you to achieve your goal as much as you do, then that's critical. That's a big one for, again, when you fall off track, then if you've got someone there, they're hopefully going to pull you back on track. Okay, so what I would say on that one, The people who are going to hold you accountable are not necessarily Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Nice Woman. Okay, they may be friends. They're the people that are going to call you out. All right, so don't hate on them for calling you out when realistically they've got your best, your goals in mind. They want to help you. Okay, so don't just tell the person who says, oh, who's not going to say anything when you fall off track. You need to have a coach or a family member, someone that's going to pull you up when you start to fall off. Cool. So those are some common errors. All right. Just very quickly, I know that we're rolling on and I'll try and get finished. We got no more than about 5 minutes. Has anyone else got any questions at this point? Rochelle's one was very valid. So if anyone else has got any questions they'd like me to go through, I'm not sure. I know we've got a bit of a difference of backgrounds in the chat. So, okay, it seems quiet. So I'll progress. You guys probably want to have your chicken fajitas as much as I do. So we'll move on. Okay, so just to finish up then, hopefully you found everything useful so far. Hopefully there's been at least 1 or 2 little pieces of information you can take away. The main things that I would say are be clear on your objective, number 1. Okay, so be very clear. What is it? Who is it that I want to be? Okay, what's the identity that I want to be in a year's time? Once you're clear on that objective, create an action plan and keep it very simple. Okay, put some milestones in there. If you don't know what good milestones, where you should be at by when, reach out to somebody who does. Okay, email me, I'll help you. Okay, if you're not sure where you should be in 6 months time, 3 months time, then reach out. I will give you my time. I'll let you know where you should be. Okay, I'll give you some feedback. Think simple but consistent. So don't do the unrealistic. Start small. Give yourself small wins, week by week, month by month, year by year, until you'll look back in 5 years' time and you won't even recognize the individual you were. Okay, every single one of you on here has greatness within you. I truly believe that every single one of us has a gift. We are all blessed. We all have something unique. The only thing stopping us is that clarity of our objective and how much work and discipline we're willing to put in to get there. And finally, also, as I said, have someone that's there to support you. Okay, so just to finish up, for those of you who are like, wow, that's cool, I took a lot on board, but I'm not sure if I can go at this alone. Maybe you need a little bit more support. Let me help you. Okay, basically, for those of you who need a little bit more support, this Monday starting, so the 11th of Jan, I'm going to be kicking off the year with a 30-day holistic health challenge, which essentially will focus on everything that I've gone through. Okay, so the 30-day holistic health challenge is a group challenge. Okay, don't worry, you're not going to be breaking the COVID rules. It's done online. Okay, these are some of the key components and what will be integrated with it. Oh, that was supposed to come last. So firstly, we're going to be setting habits. I'm going to be giving you a little habit pack. I'm working alongside you, okay, checking in on you to find out what habits that you can start implementing to be successful. Okay, a big part of this is not just giving you a training plan, go and do it. A big part of it is trying to focus on what habits can we start building now that are going to set you up for long-term success. The program also includes a recipe pack, so some of my favorite recipes that I use, as well as providing you with caloric guidelines based on your goal. Okay, nutrition again is going to be a big part of it. I'm going to try and keep it fun. I'm also going to keep it engaging for you guys. So I want you trying to try out new recipes and also supporting each other along the journey, because that's all part of the fun as well. The challenge will also include a structured program designed by myself, that is the fitness professional. The program is done basically week 1 is kind of an intro week. It's a little testing week to see where you are currently at, so we can get a guide on what are your current levels of strength, fitness, and core like. And then the next following week is going to be a progressive program week by week. As you know, I am a big believer in balance, not as in balance standing on one leg, but balance as in I believe that we should have mobility, strength, fitness, all included into our program. Okay, a big one on there as well. There is different levels within it. So if you're wondering, oh, it might be too hard for me, I'm not sure. There's different levels so that you can adapt and it's suitable for everyone. There is also video tutorials in there. Finally, in terms of all of it, it's all going to be done through one place. That is my app that I use with clients currently. The app is simple, easy to use, and everything will be done through there. So I'll be able to send you, you'll be part of a group. I'll be setting you little mini challenges in there, and I'll also be checking up on you. And it's a great place for you to hold each other accountable. Okay, so for anyone that is interested, feel free to ask me any questions now. You can pop them in the chat box, or you can turn your microphone on and ask me that way as well. Usually the program's £60, but if you want to jump on, let me know by tomorrow, 12 midday, and I will do it for £45 for anyone on this call. Also, if there is anyone that you think might enjoy it as well and want to jump on, then feel free to share that. You'll both get £5 off. Otherwise, that is it. It is time for chicken fajitas and whatever you guys have got for dinner. If you have any questions at all about anything I've went through, or if you are keen and you would like to get involved in a 30-day challenge, it is £1.50 a day for 30 days. Okay, so for less than the price of a coffee, you can get a nutrition plan, a fitness plan, and on top coaching support. But if you have any questions about anything else that I've been through as well, then please send me an email, nathan@higherlevelperformance.co.uk. I'm more than happy to spend 5-10 minutes to talk through any questions that you might have. Otherwise, I'll leave it open for a second or two. If you've got any questions, you can fire away now about either my program or anything that we've been through. Otherwise, have a wicked evening, and I'll catch up with you soon. I will do, Kim. No worries. I'll send you details through. Not a problem at all. Okay. Thank you very much for tuning in. I'll wait for everyone to leave. I'll be a good guest. Super helpful. Thank you. Don't worry. I will enjoy those chicken fajitas. I've been looking forward to them all day. Have a lovely evening. Okay. Take it easy, guys. Thanks for joining. Bye.